This video is sponsored by Soundstripe.
I'm here today with Zac Sopak, and we're going to be checking out his space where he transforms his dining room into a workspace for YouTube and content creation. Today, you're going to be learning tons of tips and tricks on how to maximize your space. We'll be able to check out his gear and how he uses it. It should be pretty cool. All right, before we get into everything, Zac, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about the space?
Yeah, my name is Zac Sopak, and I do a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of stuff about camera gear, a lot of stuff about photography, videography, just kind of like general content creation, and especially things like Lightroom, photo editing is what I'm kind of known for. So this is where I record a lot of my talking head videos for YouTube or for short form video. By day, it's a workspace where my wife, who works from home, she does all of her work at that desk. And it's also a dining room. It's also a messy kids play area because we have a couple of kids. So it's a lived-in space. So it's that by day. At night, when all the kids go down, I can convert this into my YouTube studio.
That sounds pretty cool. I'd love to see how it all turns out. Do you mind showing us how you go about transforming the space?
Yes.
Okay,
let's
fine.
go. Let's go.
Right. Bye, guys. We gotta leave.
So I start with a nice soft light. I've got this 60 watt light from Zhiyun. This is the G60. It's a really nice bicolor light. It's actually really small. So this ends up being my main key light setup. It's gonna be nice and soft. And I set it up in the corner of the room here. Sometimes I'll try to shoot from different angles, but I like to be in the corner shooting to the kind of like opposite corner of our living space, just because even as you'll probably see in the frame right now, you get a lot more depth than if you were doing it on a flat surface or like a closer wall. So that's why I like to put the lighting in the camera in the corner. So I'll take this and I will grab my light stand over here, set that up. The softbox just makes it really nice because it just adds that flattering light. I'll basically try to get this as close to me and then out of frame of the camera. I mostly just use one other light. This is another 60 watt. This is the X60. This one, I can either use a battery to power it, which gives me a portable 60 watt light. I normally set it to warmer, so like 2700 Kelvin, because at night we'll have our house lights on and they all kind of match the same temperature of this. It kind of looks like those lights are really adding more to the scene when really it's this one that's adding a lot. So I have the main light over there. I'll be sitting about here, and then I stick this on the opposite side of the house, kind of like over here, and then it'll hit the side of my head. So it gives me a little bit of a kind of like a kicker light to help me kind of pop a little bit more from the background.
Gotta make it pop.
Yeah, gotta make it pop. And then I've also got a couple other lights that I'll use from time to time. If I'm feeling saucy, I will put this on a stand and I'll just like put it on the table, which kind of looks really weird, but in context, it just sits up a little higher. If I want more color, I'll use this other light from Zhiyun. I will use this to light up this wall, and I can add like an extra color. A lot of time I'll do like blue to help balance the warm light that's happening in the background.
Ben, do you hear that?
I think I do hear that.
It sounds like music.
It's actually today's sponsor. Soundstripe is an awesome platform where I get all of my music for YouTube videos and client work. I've tried tons of different music licensing platforms, and I've found that Soundstripe is one of the best value ones out there. And they've recently added some new AI tools that make it even better. Like this AI search, which makes it super fast to find the right track for your project. And their brand new AI song editing feature. It can help you transform a song in seconds. Simply click the scissors icon and you'll see the song has already been split into sections. You can easily add, remove, or rearrange any part of the song. This is so awesome because you can now take any song that you love and make it any length that you need, all without needing to have technical or musical skills. I even have my own playlist on the site where I've carefully put together relevant tracks for content creators. Plus, you can use code CREATIVE10 to save 10% at checkout.
All right, so now that we got the lighting set up, what comes next?
Camera.
All right, let's do it.
So for the camera, I've got a couple of cameras. I've got a ZV-E1 that I love for like general run and gun content creation, but the one that I use typically for my talking head stuff is the Sony a7 IV. I like to use the Sony 20mm f1.8 lens. Happens to be my favorite for the YouTube setup. It helps to give me a wide perspective, and 1.8 is also nice for getting that shallow depth of field, so I get a lot of blur in the background. So before I put this on the camera, I need to do something different because of the tripod setup that I'm using. So the tripod is a Magnus tripod. This is a Ben Johnson recommendation, Magnus VT300. Super solid and affordable tripod. This is how I set up the A-roll. But the thing that's really cool about this setup is this small rig rotatable collar. So what this allows me to do is essentially take this little mount. I'm gonna put this on my camera, slide this guy in, you can lock it, and then you can slide it forward. And then you put the lens on the other side of the mount. So you can shoot your A-roll, and then if you want to do vertical content, you just rotate the camera, and you don't have to move anything on the tripod. You don't have to move where you're sitting or anything. It just helps me to go from doing long form YouTube videos to doing shorts, reels, TikToks, all with the exact same setup. Yeah, I love this setup for that reason. It just helps to really streamline the whole process. I've used a couple of mics back in the day, but I've really been loving the Sony ECM-B1M?
ECM-B1M, yeah.
1M, okay. The Sony naming is insane.
Listen, guys, okay, we got to talk about something. The Sony product names are ridiculous. Sony, bad names, great products.
So I love this because I can just put it on the camera. I don't have to plug it in. First of all, it sounds really good, and I can do auto levels to adjust it. So it's just sitting there on the camera. And like I said, this is how I do my A-roll. Whenever I want to do vertical content, just move it, and the mic still sounds really great. Another thing I'll do is I will take this clamp to get my Monitor Plus app. So this is like a $20 app, and basically it gives you all the functionality that you would have in like a more expensive monitor. So I have got like my LUTs loaded in. I can do that. I can change my ISO on my camera. I can do shutter speed, white balance, different things like that. Or what I'll do is I will just rotate this around, and I've got like my notes for all the things that I want to talk about here. So whenever I'm like looking at the camera, I can say my piece, and then I can refer to my notes, move down, and that's pretty much my simple setup.
What's next?
Set design. When I'm talking set design, it's basically I'm kind of arranging things that's going to be in the frame because I have a ton of stuff in my house with family. Sorry, the guy. Let me start it again. We got an awesome jazz player next door, and he never plays, but of course he's playing during this video. When I'm talking about set design, what I'm talking about is just arranging things that are going to be in the frame of the shot, or taking things out of the frame of the shot so that way it just looks better. So I'll take this hanging plant over here. I like it because it's fuller, and I will put this on this hook where this guy normally lives, and just kind of like arrange it so that there's more fullness there.
A tip I heard one time is that a photographer's most important tools are his scissors, which means that you need to really just cut out stuff that you don't want to portray in your shot. So for example, what Zach's saying about the plants, I could just film this shot, or I could use my scissors, AKA change my frame, to get some nice life into the shot with these plants. So that's kind of what we're talking about.
Another part of the setup that is not necessarily seen, but it is important for doing things like B-roll and thumbnails, is that up behind this little ledge is a paper roll, and that's just on a metal bar. I sometimes will even use it for like a top-down setup, but I basically will pull this guy down, and I can use this as just a blank canvas, like I said, for thumbnails, for getting different types of B-roll, you know, shine different light on it, and then be able to like kind of hold a product or something in front of this. And it does a really good job, kind of helps to sell that this is a completely separate like scene, even though it's technically the exact same space where I film my A-roll videos.
And this looks pretty awesome. Zach, thank you so much for letting us tour your space. Could you give the audience just one more encouragement?
Yeah, basically you can make a YouTube space just about anywhere. You just have to get really creative with where you're at. Even if you got small kids, or you're restricted on your space, or if you don't have a YouTube studio dedicated area, that's okay. You can make it work. Just gotta find little hacks to make it work and make sense for you.
Absolutely. You guys know the motto, stay creative. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
If you enjoyed this video and want to continue getting some cool inspiration for YouTube studio ideas, then I'd love to invite you to check out this video that I did with Edward Creates, where we check out his studio and how he has it all set up. You can watch it here.